If you know English history, you will know that the British were originally explorers. They were sailors. A lot of our goods and imports, spices, teas, minerals, were found or taken away from faraway lands and brought back to England by boat. That was our main mode of transport back then, was boat and sailing. We have many ports in the UK, and many historical ships docked along England's shores. There are, of course, ugly sides to our history as well, and a lot of things we need to apologize for. Like, for example, did you know that tea was not invented or created in England? It was stolen from India and brought over to England to be drunk by the upper class and aristocrats and monarchs. Of course, now when we think of England, we think of tiny sandwiches and drinking with our pinkies out. What I want to talk about today is metaphors and idioms in the English language that we still use every day that originate or have an origin with our sailing or nautical background. Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm a business English teacher and I teach professional English for the workplace. If that is something you are working on, be sure to subscribe and check out my many other videos that should be helpful to you. I usually do a word of the day, but as today is going to be all new words, I'm not going to do a word of the day today, so let's get straight into it. Taken aback is our first one. To be taken aback means to be shocked or surprised. You were not expecting something. This comes from the idea that if you are sailing and the wind gets into the back of your sail, the wrong side of your sail, it can cause your boat to turn or tip over. In sailing, we call tipping over capsizing. Of course, this is something that would be surprising and shocking and unexpected, which is why we say taken aback when we are surprised or something unexpected happens. When we use it in a sentence, we would say something like, I was taken aback by the amount of mess left behind after the festival. I was taken aback by the beauty of the landscape. I was taken aback by your offer to take me to dinner. We can use it in both a positive and negative way, and we can use it in the same way we would shocked or surprised. The next one I have talked about in another video, so let's see if you can remember from my description. This metaphor means to learn something new, to learn the basics, or show someone how to do something new, or to show someone the basics. It is, of course, to learn the ropes, or to show someone the ropes, meaning teaching them the very basics, because of course, when you learn to sail, the first thing you do is learn which rope means what. If you pull this rope, what happens? If you pull this rope, what happens? Learning the ropes, learning the basics. Adrift. Adrift is often used in the English language. To become adrift or explain a situation as being adrift means to move away from the original idea, the original topic, to be without purpose or guidance, to move in the wrong direction. So, for example, if you are in a meeting and the meeting is to discuss next week's product launch and everyone starts talking about Sam's new baby, you could say, okay, we've gone slightly adrift here. Could we move back to the original topic? Or maybe you are checking someone's email content and they have moved away from the intended subject. The feedback you could give is that they have gone adrift and need to reread their email. This comes from the exact same meaning in nautical sailing terms, to move away from the original point or direction. When a boat goes adrift, it has moved from its original destination and needs to get back to the direction it was initially heading in. If you have ever done a driving exam in an English-speaking country, you may have heard the driving instructor say, give this car a wide berth. Or maybe you're parallel parking, the worst form of parking in my opinion, to give yourself a wide berth when doing so. A berth is referring to the place a ship is parked or moored or kept overnight. The official term is moored. We don't park a boat, we moor a boat. So to give something a wide berth, wide meaning large, we mean to give yourself enough space as to not hit the boat or hit the side of the boat on something. It's almost like saying give yourself lots of space. So when talking about physical objects, like when parking a car or moving something around, you would say give that a wide berth or make sure you give yourself a wide berth. However, we can also use it figuratively as well. So for example, if my boss is being very emotional and unreasonable and I don't want to deal with him in this moment, I can say, I'm giving the boss a wide berth today. I don't want to be near him. I'm trying to avoid him. Of course, I would never say this to my boss's face. I could be fired, but maybe to another colleague or to my mum on my lunch break. Or maybe you haven't had a chance to watch the Game of Thrones and you're trying to avoid YouTube and social media so as not to spoil the ending. You could say, I am giving social media a wide berth at the moment because I do not want to see any Game of Thrones spoilers. It means to avoid. So when used about a physical item, we mean give yourself lots of space. And when used about a figurative thing, we mean to avoid something. Again, give it lots of space. The final one today. There's lots of new words and phrases here, so I'm going to keep it at this. And of course, if this is interesting, make sure to subscribe and I will do a follow-up video with even more phrases. There are hundreds. So if you are interested in the origin of phrases, be sure to subscribe and I will do a second video to this one. So the final one, flagship, flagship. Now a flagship refers to the lead boat, the lead ship. It typically carries the commanding officer or person in charge of the group of boats. They make all the decisions for all the other ships. Well, why have I included this? Well, if you work in retail or hospitality, as many people do and I used to, you may hear one specific location be referred to as your flagship store or your flagship location, flagship restaurant, meaning this is the lead location. This is the location that every other location has to follow. Maybe it has the most customers, it makes the most money in 1 month. It's a test for any new rollouts that the company wants to do. Any changes the company will try out in the flagship store first before they roll it out to the rest of the stores. It's not the headquarters because it doesn't make the decisions for the whole company, but it is the store or hotel or restaurant that the headquarters looks to bring in good profits, good figures, try out anything they want to try out. I used to work in a flagship store in London, which meant that our store was number 1 in Europe and all the other European stores needed to follow what we did, follow our standards. So you wouldn't really use flagship in natural conversation, but like I said, if you work in hospitality or retail, you may come across this phrase. There are so many more phrases that come from sailing in the English language. Let me know down below which was your favorite. Let me know if you know any nautical phrases in the English language. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up and I will see you in our next lesson. Have a good week. Goodbye.